हिंदुस्तान को बेच रहा है।
All right, here we have some exclusive images coming in from Venkaiah Naidu's residence. The chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, the Vice President of India, Venkaiah Naidu, in fact, broke down. He was quite emotional yesterday over the kind of ruckus that unfolded the day before that and condemned the kind of behavior of all the parliamentarians inside the House of Elders, that witnessed some scenes of pandemonium. Now he's trying to, of course, bring some resolve between both the opposition and the centre. We're looking at several opposition party leaders who are present there. This picture shows opposition leaders who've reached Venkaiah Naidu's residence, who are currently there having a word with him on all that's gone by. Now, even as we speak, on the other hand, you have many members of the opposition who are protesting outside the parliament. On the other, here's a meeting. Here's Mallikarjun Kharge, who's just about to address the media. Remember, the opposition party is still continuing their protest right outside the parliament. Many of them, on the other hand, are at Venkaiah Naidu's residence trying to discuss the ruckus that took place over the last few weeks. Remember, the entire monsoon session, it's over now. It was entirely washed out, barely 22% productivity in the Lok Sabha. The opposition shifting the entire blame on the centre, saying that the government refused to discuss key issues and, in fact, interrupted every discussion that began on issues like farm laws or Pegasus, price rise, unemployment. These are the allegations. Let's take a listen, Mallikarjun Kharge.
15 पार्टी के सभी लीडर्स, उपराष्ट्रपति जी को, जो हमारे राज्यसभा के चेयरमैन हैं, उनसे मिले और उनको हमने एक मेमोरेंडम पेश किया और उसमें ये बात सारे पार्टियों की नेताओं ने और हमारे सीनियर लीडर शरद पवार जी ने भी, हम सभी ने मिलके जो सदन में घटनाएं घटी उसके बारे में उनको सविस्तार से बताया, क्योंकि उनको जो मालूमात मिलती है या जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन मिलता है वो एक साइड नहीं होना, तो इस वजह से हमने खुद मेमोरेंडम लेकर सभी लोग पहुंचे। हम धन्यवाद करते हैं उपराष्ट्रपति का कि उन्होंने समय दिया, हमारी बात सुनी। लेकिन उसमें यही बात हमने कही है कि सरकार ने जितने बिल गड़बड़ी में हाउस ऑर्डर में न रहते हुए भी पास कर लिया, हर 10 मिनट को एक बिल पास हो गया और किसी को बोलने का मौका नहीं मिला और उन कानूनों में क्या कमियां हैं वो बताने के लिए भी समय लिया नहीं। उसके बाद में फिर भी हमने सरकार को कोविड इश्यू पे डिस्कशन के लिए हम पूरे साथ दिए। उसके बाद में जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट बिल था उसके विषय में भी 6 घंटे तक सविस्तर से हमने बात की। सभी पार्टी के लोगों ने भी बात करके सरकार को, यानी इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बिल को फुल सपोर्ट किया और जब फुल सपोर्ट हमने किया, मकसद यही था कि पार्लियामेंट स्मूथली चले, डेमोक्रेटिक तरीके से चले और सब मिलकर यूनानिमसली पास करने के लिए जो करेंगे वो उसका मैसेज जनता तक पहुंचे, वही हमारी मंशा थी, वो हमने किया। लेकिन हुआ क्या, वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट बिल पास होने के बाद उन्होंने फिर एक बिल, इंश्योरेंस बिल, डीनेशनलाइजिंग 4 कंपनियों को उन्होंने जो किया, उसके विरोध में हमने ये कहा कि ये बिल तो आज आने वाली नहीं थी, क्योंकि कल हम सभी ने बात की थी उनसे कि ओबीसी अमेंडमेंट एक्ट पास होने के बाद हाउस आज अर्जन करेंगे और इंश्योरेंस बिल को कल लेंगे, लेकिन इसके बावजूद उन्होंने लाए। वहां पर क्या हो गया कि यथा हमेशा प्रोटेस्ट होते हैं सदन में, वेल में जाते हैं, कभी इमोशन में स्लोगन लगाते हैं, लेकिन सरकार ने ऐसा इंतजाम कर लिया था, लीडर ऑफ द हाउस ने ऐसा इंतजाम कर लिया था कि 50-60 मार्शल्स को बाहर से लाया। वो कौन से थे, क्या थे, किनको मालूम नहीं। और उसी ढंग से 15-20 महिलाओं को भी उन्होंने लाया और शील्ड बनाकर वहां पर रख दिया। और जो कांग्रेस के 2 महिलाएं राज्यसभा मेंबर थे, उनके साथ भी
तृणमूल के साथ
और तृणमूल और कांग्रेस के छाया वर्मा और हमने नेता उनके साथ भी वो हुआ। इसीलिए हम ये चाहते हैं, कौन लाए वो बाहर की फोर्सेस को, किसने इजाजत दी और इतने संख्या में सदन में आने की क्या जरूरत थी। तो ये इसका कारण कौन है, किसने ये किया है, क्यों किया है, और अपोजिशन को बदनाम करने के लिए ऐसी चीजें अगर सरकार करती गई और बाहर मीडिया में एक इंप्रेशन देते हैं कि हम हाउस चलाना चाहते हैं, अपोजिशन पार्टी नहीं चाहती है, लेकिन वो अंदर जो होता है वो किसी को मालूम नहीं होता। जो वो प्रेस ब्रीफिंग करते कहते हैं वही बाहर आता है और वही छपता है। इसीलिए हम आपको क्लैरिफाई कर देते हैं कि सदन में जो चला वो अनडेमोक्रेटिक था, और खास करके गड़बड़ी में जो इम्पोर्टेंट बिल्स उन्होंने पास कर ली वो भी अच्छा नहीं था। इसका हम कंडम करते हैं और उनको पता है इसकी इंक्वायरी करिए और जो कुछ सच्चाई है वो बाहर आए।
Well, what the leader of opposition has explained, we had come to meet the honorable chairman, the floor leaders of the opposition parties, to convey our strong protest over what happened in the house yesterday. The government has violated every understanding that it reached with the opposition, including day before yesterday and yesterday, that the house will discuss the constitutional amendment in an orderly manner which the opposition had promised and we delivered. It will be discussed and voted upon unanimously. After that, the House was to be adjourned. House was not adjourned. What happened yesterday was unprecedented, shocking, and an assault on the very dignity of Rajya Sabha and the institution of parliamentary democracy, when you had not the watch and ward staff marshals, but people entirely unknown to us in plain clothes who used force without any provocation. I am repeating, there was no provocation from any opposition member, and including women members who were manhandled and they fell down. This action yesterday on the part of the government to brazenly push through the legislation. The government may claim that they have passed so many laws, but was that democratic? Was there discussion? Was there a consensus on the passage of those laws? The answer is no. Right from the word go, when the all-party meeting was convened on the 18th, the day before the parliament began, government has violated every understanding, and we are making it clear what we conveyed, that the entire blame for the deadlock, stalemate and pandemonium lies with the government. Opposition is united and we remain committed to continue our fight. And that's what we have conveyed.
Sir, while you are talking about the marshals being brought in the House of the Parliament, there is a new video that has been
राम गोपाल जी और हमारे प्रोफेसर जी दो मिनट
नेताओं ने कहा है उससे अपने को जो हमारे नेताओं ने कहा है पूरी तरह से अपने आप को संबद्ध करते हैं और ये मानते हैं कि सेशन में जिस तरह के बिल पास हुए जिनमें जिन पर कोई विचार विमर्श नहीं हो सका, मैं समझता हूँ हिंदुस्तान के इतिहास में इतने घटिया क्वालिटी के बिल कभी पास नहीं। नेवर दे हैव नेवर बीन स्क्रूटिनाइज्ड, और जब तक स्क्रूटनी नहीं होती है तो दुनिया भर की कमियां होती हैं। अभी देखना 6 महीने बाद में कितने संशोधन लाने पड़े। जब इतना सब स्टैंडर्ड आप कानून बनाना चाहते हैं और विपक्ष की बात नहीं सुनना चाहते, आप कहते हैं कि इतना समय बर्बाद हुआ। समय कहाँ बर्बाद हुआ? इनके तो सारे बिल पास हो गए। जो बर्बाद हुआ समय विपक्ष का था। जनता की मांगों को, जनता की समस्याओं को उठाना चाहते हैं तो इजाजत नहीं दी गई। ना किसानों की सम्मत, ना जासूसी हो रही है पेगासस के मामले में, न महंगाई के मामले में, बेरोजगारी के मामले में कोई चर्चा नहीं। यही जनता के विषय थी, इन पर कोई चर्चा नहीं। तो समय जो बर्बाद हुआ तो जनता के विषयों को लेकर विपक्ष का जो असली मामला था वो बर्बाद हुआ। इन्होंने तो सब बिल पास करा दिया। इनको तो कोई हक ही नहीं कहने का कि समय बर्बाद हुआ है। इनको बहुत आराम था, सीधे बिल पास। आपको किसी को नहीं मालूम बिलों में क्या है, कहाँ आपकी गर्दन काट रहे हैं, कहाँ बीमा कंपनियों का निजीकरण करके लाखों करोड़ जिनकी संपत्ति है वो निजी हाथों में दे रहे हैं। लोग तो ये कह रहे थे कि ये उस दिन कल इसलिए लाया गया क्योंकि देश के 2-3 बड़े पूंजीपति कह रहे थे आदि पास करा दिया। आसपास उन्होंने लोगों को मार
शुक्रिया। मेरे तमाम साथियों सब कह चुके हैं। सिर्फ इतना कहना चाहता हूँ कि आज हम माननीय राष्ट्रपति जी के पास सिर्फ इसलिए आए कि हमारे सदन की गरिमा और प्रतिष्ठा उनके हाथ में। अगर उस सदन की गरिमा और प्रतिष्ठा पे आघात पहुंचता है तो वो हिंदुस्तान की आत्मा पर आघात है। कल जो कुछ सदस्यों के साथ हुआ, बल्कि मैं यूं कहूं कि इस बार शुरुआत के दिनों से सरकार का अहंकार और गुरूर इस तेवर पर था, सातवें आसमान पर। उन्होंने जनता की आवाज नहीं सुनी, चाहे कोविड मिसमैनेजमेंट हो, बेरोजगारी का मामला हो, महंगाई का हो, किसान कानूनों की वापसी का हो या पेगासस का हो। अगर जन सरोकारों पर संसद में बात नहीं होगी, मुझे तो कहीं न कहीं लग रहा है कि प्रधानमंत्री जी नई संसद की इमारत बना रहे हैं और संसदीय परंपराओं की कब्रगाह भी साथ में खोद रहे हैं। ये चिंता का विषय है, उससे अवगत करा दिया। That's all I had to say on behalf of राष्ट्रीय जनता दल।
राज्यसभा टीवी is not telecasting any one of our protest or slogans. They are putting off the camera when we are raising some important points. Yesterday, journalist organization Editors Guild written a letter to Speaker. The entire Parliament is insulated from media persons. That is only that the aim is to hide the things from the public. And government version only should be gone out. That is the position of government. Rajya Sabha TV is not the personal property of BJP. It is a national asset. It is to be functioned impartially. In the parliament, what happened, our opposition leader told, the watch and ward, marshals, they came from outside. We don't know who are they. There were 3-layer protection to the chamber. Never happened in the history of the parliament. We were protesting against the GIC privatization bill. The GIC, the General Insurance Corporation, is to be sold to corporates. So we shall continue our struggle outside the parliament.
With the opposition leaders there shifting the entire blame on the government, accusing the government of not willing to speak regarding key issues, not wanting to discuss all the issues related to the farm laws, Pegasus, unemployment, price rise. We're all sidelined. In fact, they accuse the government of, in fact, bringing marshals inside the house and trying to manhandle women MPs. But here's a footage that's now come forward. The government's proof here of marshal, a woman marshal, a female marshal, right inside the Rajya Sabha who was allegedly manhandled. And here's the government justifying that it was the opposition who in fact attacked a woman marshal, and that's what you see here in this video as well. We're looking at already heightened tensions among all of those parliamentarians who were standing around, and moments later it was one of those MPs, a female MP who and one of the woman marshals there getting into a quarrel, and then eventually we see the MP pulling the marshal towards her, literally dragging her out of that human chain that they've created right there around the well. And you see here that the video shows very clearly the MP, the female MP, pulling the marshal, the woman marshal who's in white. She's literally pulling her to the other side of the house. In fact, the female marshal was right there along with the other marshals along the well of the house. In fact, they're in a human chain, standing right there. Just moments later, not too sure what exactly sparked that, but we see the female MP, the lady reaching out to the woman marshal, dragging her, like literally dragging her, pulling her to the other side of the house. Anand Patel for more on that. Let me quickly cut across. Anand, we're seeing these visuals that are quite upsetting. We see the woman marshal being pulled and dragged by a female MP. In fact, opposition is alleging that MPs of the opposition party, women MPs, were manhandled. But here, a visual that shows something else.
Yes, these are very disturbing visuals, Nabila, the manner in which this entire ruckus played out in Rajya Sabha yesterday after the OBC bill was passed and the government tried to introduce the insurance amendment bills. In this visual, we can see the women MPs who are trying to pull woman marshal. Very clear. Another visual, we can see Congress MP Ripun Bora. He's on the desk. He's climbing on the desk and they're trying to push the marshals who had cornered off the well of the house, that area, and they tried to enter the sanctum sanctorum of the Rajya Sabha. They were being prevented to do so. The entire, tug of war which is going on between marshal and opposition MPs. So this video is a crucial evidence. But also the opposition, which, had a press conference, is demanding an inquiry. Very interesting. Let me try and put this across to Nasir Hussain MP, Rajya Sabha MP of the Congress, who was present when this entire thing played out. Now, sir, the visual which have been released, the CCTV footage, clearly shows that the two women MPs of the opposition are dragging a woman marshal. What do you have to say on that?
Yeah, I have not seen that visual. See, so many things happened in the parliament yesterday. Lots of confusion and provocations from the side of the treasury benches. Some things were agreed upon in the business advisory committee meeting. So the things were agreed between the chief whip of the opposition and the leader of the house and the minister parliamentary affairs. But then without anybody's notice, they were bringing a very important bill called the general insurance bill. So all these things led to so much of confusion and pandemonium. They wanted to adjourn the house Senate day. That's the reason they brought in all the marshals in the house, about 100, 150. Nobody recognizes they were not regular people there, because we generally meet regular marshals and the officers that are there on the duty. But they were not the regular people.
The government has released this video, sir, in which the two opposition MPs are dragging a woman.
Yeah, I think the government should release all the videos. And the entire Rajya Sabha television telecast should be live, so that people of the country will get to know what actually happened and not get to know only selective videos from the entire proceeding.
Are you saying that this is selective?
Obviously, I know what all happened there. You can actually ask them to release the entire proceedings of the Rajya Sabha, then you will get to know what actually happened there.
You are demanding an inquiry, sir.
We are demanding an inquiry. We have apprised the Vice President of India, who is the chairperson. Since he was not there yesterday and day before yesterday, we approached him what actually happened, how it happened, and what issues it happened, what was the provocation, what was the misunderstanding, what was the confusion in the house.
This woman marshal, what you can recall, why was she being pulled?
That I don't know. I haven't seen that. I have not seen that.
All right. So Congress MP clearly saying that the government should not release selective videos, but all the entire footage of what all happened during the ruckus in the Rajya Sabha yesterday, and is demanding a full inquiry into the entire incident. Nabila?
Well, Anand, what we see here in the visual is quite shocking and it's disturbing to say the least. We're looking at heightened tensions there in the Rajya Sabha, where you see marshals in a human chain around the well of the House. Of course, we know the opposition created quite some ruckus. Many of the Congress MPs there jumping on tables, rushing towards the well of the House, throwing the rule book right at the chairman's seat, disturbing developments that came to fore over the last few sessions. And here are marshals who are inside, possibly trying to stop these MPs from creating further ruckus. At a time like this, we see that two women getting into a quarrel. One is a woman MP, the other the woman marshal. Not sure what exactly has sparked this, but moments after some discussion there amongst the MPs and the marshals, or you had, of course, the government and the opposition arguing, in just moments, you see one of those MPs pouncing on that woman marshal, dragging her from that one end to the other. Again, not exactly sure what has prompted this, but here is the Congress calling this a selective visual that's being played out. The government there has released this visual here showing very clearly that it was MP from the opposition party who in fact assaulted a woman marshal. And this is a video that's been released by the government itself. The Congress saying that this is one video that's been released. There are several other videos that should be out also. That's in fact all that's taken place through the session entirely must be relayed for people to see. Paulmi joining us, more details on that. Paulmi, as much as the opposition cries foul, we see a video here that surfaced showing very well that a woman MP of the opposition drags the female marshal from one end to the other. Not sure what has prompted this kind of quarrel between the two women, but very disturbing visual that shows the woman MP literally pulling, dragging, we could say assaulting her right in the well of the House.
That's right, Nabila. This is the Rajya Sabha CCTV footage which we've been able to access. And as you can see, some very heated and stormy scenes, in fact, played out in the Rajya Sabha yesterday, after, of course, the passage of the OBC bill, when the opposition wanted the government to call it a day and continue with proceedings of the House over the next 2 days, as was earlier slated, that the House will run till the 13th of August. But the government, of course, insisted that there were a couple of bills which could be passed and the House could be adjourned sine die, which the opposition was against. And what then, of course, broke out in the well of the House are those scenes that you're, in fact, putting out for our visuals, putting out for our viewers, I beg your pardon. At the moment, these are CCTV footage visuals from the Rajya Sabha. The opposition, of course, has alleged that their women MPs were misbehaved, with manhandled by the marshals, and that, in fact, the marshals outnumbered the number present of MPs in that House. But what the government is saying that a lady marshal was in fact manhandled by a member of parliament. In fact, this was mentioned by the leader of the House, Piyush Goyal, in his concluding remarks yesterday in the Rajya Sabha, where he said that this deserves serious attention of the chair and an investigation needs to be thoroughly carried out into all the proceedings, and whatever transpired in the Rajya Sabha, a special committee for that needs to be formed in order to get to the bottom of it, and the strictest action needs to be taken against everyone culpable. But what you're witnessing right now are extremely disturbing scenes. Shortly, the government's top ministers, Piyush Goyal, Dharmendra Pradhan, Anurag Singh Thakur, and others will be addressing a mega government briefing on the parliament proceedings at 2 p.m. and they will be putting out their version. The opposition, of course, has put out its version. The Trinamool Congress is now speaking separately as well. And they say that it is the government which has, in fact, bulldozed.
Paulmi, stay with us. I'm going to quickly cut across to Dola Sen, who's an MP, TMC MP, joining us on the phone line. Mr. Sen, Ms. Sen, here we're looking at very disturbing visuals. The government has released this in its defense, saying it was not the government who indulged in a ruckus or or this kind of manhandling. It was the opposition who in fact assaulted a woman marshal, and it's very clear in this video that shows a woman MP dragging a woman marshal from one end to the other. Not sure what prompted that, but this really looks disturbing.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. तो शायद एक बच्चा को भी पता होगा कि हमारे बहुत अनफॉर्चुनेट है, लेकिन हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर झूठ बोलते हैं, नरेंद्र मोदी जी झूठ बोलते हैं।
ये वीडियो तो झूठ नहीं बोल रहा है मैडम, ये वीडियो में साफ दिखाई दे रहा है कि एक औरत।
आप सुनेंगे या बोलेंगे?
नहीं, ये वीडियो के बारे में आप बताइए।
आप सुनेंगे या बोलेंगे?
आप बोलिए वीडियो के बारे में मैडम।
हाँ, हम वही बारे में बोल रहे हैं। फिर सुनिए, हमको पता है कि नरेंद्र मोदी जी झूठ बोलते हैं। प्राइम मिनिस्टर जब झूठ बोल लेते तो उसका पार्टी का सबको झूठ बोलना आता है। पीयूष गोयल जी लीडर ऑफ हाउस बहुत अनफॉर्चुनेट है, उन्होंने भी झूठ बोलते हैं। पिछले 2-3 दिन पहले जब हम सस्पेंडेड हुआ था फॉर द डे ओनली, आफ्टर एडजॉर्नमेंट द हाउस आवर सस्पेंशन वाज ओवर, वी डू नॉट हैव एनी पॉकेट्स एज द लेडी एमपी विथ आवर ड्रेसेस. So we have to carry our bags and purses,
okay.
And they didn't enter, didn't allow us to enter,
okay.
And the male marshals restricted us to enter. तब भी पीयूष गोयल ने ये झूठ बोला था कि उस तब सैनिटाइजेशन चल रहा था, इसीलिए वीमेन एमपीओ को अंदर नहीं जाने दिया। तो सारे के सारे झूठ बोलते हैं। अभी भी जैसे वीडियो आपको दिया, कौन सा एमपी है उसको चेहरा आपको पता नहीं चलेगा। तो झूठ में ऐसा ही होता है, एमपी को चेहरा पता नहीं चलेगा वो, लेकिन वो झटक रहे से वो पता चलेगा। तो झूठ है। सच तो ये है कि हम नहीं, लेकिन हमारी तरह 4 महिला एमपी मेल मार्शल की तरह बुलडोज हुआ। मार्शल का कोई कसूर नहीं है। तो जब लीडर ऑफ हाउस ऐसा इंस्टिगेट करेंगे तो वो क्या करेंगे? थैंक यू।
जी मिस डोला सेन, this video that shows of a woman MP dragging the female marshal, what really prompted that? Would you know what resulted in the quarrel between the two?
Who is that women MP? कैसे वीडियो भेजा गया जिसमें वुमेन एमपी को समझ में नहीं आता है? कौन है वो वुमेन एमपी? आपको पता चल रहा है? वो झूठ वीडियो है, फेक वीडियो है।
Well, ये हाउस का वीडियो है। Well, there you have it. Opposition MP Dola Sen says that this is a false video. She claims that the Piyush Goyal, in fact, lied, saying that women are not allowed because sanitization drive was on. She claims that many women were not allowed inside. The male marshals blocked them right at the start. And that led to further friction between the marshals and the opposition leaders, particularly women. Anand Patel for more on that. Anand, Dola Sen says the government is lying. Quite naturally, opposition calling this a selective attempt of defending themselves, saying that this video is just one part of the video of the entire ruckus that ensued over more than an hour. And again, not justifying exactly what happened here. This video shows clearly of one woman MP. Clearly, she's wearing a sari there. She's not dressed in the marshal's clothes. So we're assuming that she's a woman MP from the opposition party. But any word on who exactly is that lady clad in a sari, dragging the female marshal wearing white from one end to the other? Have you all been able to identify who that MP is?
Well, Nabila, it's, just a little while ago these visuals have been released, and the visuals are very grainy, if you can see, not much clear. Really, we can't understand, because the visuals which are played out on the Rajya Sabha TV when the session is live, the visuals are very clear, and these are very high definition cameras which are there inside the house. Whichever camera is filming this, this is not a CCTV, this is camera. You can see the cameras being zoomed to the MPs, but still the visuals are very grainy. This is very surprising, and this is what the Congress MPs and opposition MPs who addressed the press briefing here in their memorandum have said that there should be an inquiry into this entire episode which happened in Rajya Sabha. Only an inquiry in which both the opposition and the government representatives are there can bring out what is the truth.
But Anand, are you really trying to say that you're not able to recognize, none of them can recognize who that woman MPs who's dragging the female marshal from one end to the other. You can see her back, yes. There are many other leaders who are surrounding her. One of them must have recognized or would have realized that this was her.
Well, yes, that's what I'm saying, Nabila. It's, the visual has been released just a little while ago. And we need to really, zoom into these visuals, look into, as to who these are, try to recognize as to who these are. We are yet to do that. But the point I'm trying to make here, Nabila, is, it is very surprising that these visuals are, a very grainy kind of visuals, difficult to, make out as to who all are there. I could recognize Dr. Jairam Ramesh, I could recognize Congress MP from Assam, Ripun Bora, who's standing on that desk. I can recognize two, I can see the two MPs on the other side, including Dora Sale, standing on the other side of the well, with the marshals surrounding the entire sanctorium. But we'll need to really, investigate this video properly and then name the, opposition MPs as to who all are there exactly present when this entire ruckus took place.
So as per what you say, we see opposition leaders surrounding those two women. One of them can possibly recognize who that woman MP is who's dragging the female marshal from one end to the other. The female marshal that you see in the visual here is a lady wearing white. She's with a mask. She's been pulled and dragged by a woman MP from one end to the other. Quite literally, and not anybody is stopping the female MP, the woman MP who's doing that. And of course, Dola Sen, we spoke to a little earlier, says that they were restricted from entering the house because they claimed there was sanitization drive that was being carried out, but eventually the male marshals blocked them. That led to friction and then this showdown. So what really sparked this war inside the well of the house needs to be investigated, but these visuals are certainly disturbing. Anand, have the opposition acknowledged that something like this has even happened, that a woman MP has also assaulted? Possibly. Nobody is denying that maybe the women have felt victimized, the women MPs have felt victimized, they felt roughed up or manhandled. But here's also an episode where we see very clearly that one woman has dragged the female marshal. And we're assuming that woman who's dragged the female marshal is an opposition MP. We're going to try and identify who that opposition MP lady is who's dragging the female marshal. But has the opposition acknowledged that something like this even happened?
Well, I just spoke to Dr. Nasir Hussain. He clearly said that a lot of confusion, a lot of conundrum was there inside the house when this ruckus was taking place, in different corners of the house. So it's difficult to, pinpoint as to what, exactly happened or pinpoint to one particular incident. There were multiple MPs who were trying to force their entry towards the sanctorium, and a lot of incidents followed. So clearly, the opposition is maintaining its stand very clear that there should be a proper investigation, and also the government should release all the videos, entire footage of what all happened, and not just selective footage to just pin down the opposition MPs.
Well, this footage nonetheless is disturbing. We're looking at a female marshal who was dragged, pulled by a woman MP from one end to the other. And this is the government's defense. Remember, the government has released this video to defend themselves, saying that it was the opposition who created quite some ruckus, behaved in an indisciplined manner. And this was very embarrassing. Clearly, that shows upsetting visuals here of a woman marshal being manhandled. Opposition, on the other hand, claiming that this is complete selective defense. In fact, the entire session's footage must be released, not selective footage that shows the opposition in bad light. The fact is that the government brought in marshals, manhandled women MPs. These are the allegations made by the opposition. Here's the government's defense with this video here that they've released to show very clearly. And you can see very clearly in this video that a woman marshal is being dragged, manhandled, pulled, roughed up, all of that by another woman MP from one end of the well to the other, and yet not being able to identify or justify exactly what triggered this. I'm going to leave you with these visuals. I'm going to come back right after a short break. Do stay tuned.